Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Unset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So, you guys have heard me talk about friends with benefits before, a term that stands for some having a sex partner that you have no title, relationship, or future with in some cases. So the other day I told you guys I would do a video about friends with benefits. So these are the top 10 reasons why friends with benefits is bullshit. Okay? So I'm going to give you my list. This is my personal list of the top 10 reasons. Now, whenever I talk about this, one thing people are always very surprised because it's a very Aquarian thing to do. Freedom, no commitments. Sounds Aquarius to me, you know? And in my early life, when I was a young girl, I did enjoy friends with benefits. I thought that was great until I saw all the things that I'm getting ready to tell you. And then I was like, maybe this isn't so great. It took a little bit of time for me to see these things, though. Mind you, I experienced friends with benefits before I even thought about these things. Number one, my biggest reason that I hate this. I don't hate too many things, and this is something I really hate. The first one is because my biggest reason is because it is an unnatural state. Think about what you're saying and doing in essence. In essence, you were saying that you are going to have an intimate relationship with someone that you have no strings attached to, and you're going to have an intimate relationship with all of the hormones and all of the spiritual energy that happens during sex. You're going to have an intimate relationship, a sexual relationship with this person, and maintain no feelings and not want, expect, or even assume it could go somewhere. It could lead to a relationship. It's an unnatural state because when we have sex, spiritually and emotionally, we bond. What happens when you bond? You get feelings. It's a natural thing to happen. It's a natural progression. Now, mind you, it doesn't happen in every situation because sometimes you have sex with somebody that you really don't like that much, especially in situations like this. You might just like the sex. Like one of my letters that I got about this topic, she said, my friends with benefits situation, he ain't shit, but he has great sex. A lot of times this is what you end up with, one of these unnatural situations. So now here you are with a great sex partner who you know ain't shit. And so basically, you're opening yourself up to his ain't shitness. So whatever about him ain't shit, you're opening yourself up to dealing with that because you enjoy having sex with him. You've opened yourself up to an unnatural, unbalanced, dysfunctional state. So that's my biggest reason for not liking it. You're denying your feelings. A lot of times, one or both of them have feelings that they're denying. And we all know suppression and repression of feelings is bad for you. It's bad for you. Those feelings do not just simmer away somewhere. They kind of collect wherever you put them at. And eventually, some of us go through what we call an emotional breakdown because of it. Those feelings that are repressed and suppressed come up in inappropriate times and inappropriate ways, and then you have to deal with them anyway. So that's number one. It's unnatural and leads to other unnatural, unhealthy behaviors. Number two, it has no end game. If you are friends with benefits with somebody, talk to me, y'all, about how this could end. We got 4 ways that I've identified. It could end with the two of you getting together, which could be a negative and it could be a positive. I'm going to come back to that one, though. It could end with the two of you hating each other, which unfortunately, in most of the cases that I come across from readings, that's where it goes. Number 3, it could end with a perpetual friends with benefits situation where you repeatedly have sex. Some people have sex over decades. and never have a real relationship. They just turn to each other when there's nothing else available. Okay, so that's what we got here. They can end up together, they can end up hating each other, they can end up in a perpetual situation, or four, they could end up just not doing it anymore, saying, thanks, had a good time, deuces, that could happen too. With no drama and no fanfare, they just move on, which to me is like the one that's probably the best possible outcome. Now, the first one is a good outcome sometimes. This is the one where I said you could end up together. Now, this is one that could be a good outcome if you want to be with this person. However, it could be negative as well, because I've seen this happen a lot where the people over time, they've been having sex so long, they just settle for one another. And yes, they end up together, but they're settling. One or both of them is settling. Like, this ain't really what I want, but the sex is good. Okay. I've been here all this time. Okay. They just kind of settle for it. And I don't want anybody settling for me, and I don't want to settle for anybody else. So, no. So it's positive if they really fall in love. That's really positive. But usually what I've seen is they settle for each other, and then sometimes they just perpetually settle, and sometimes they end up breaking up. It depends. Next one, 3. Most of the time it ends in disaster. This is another big reason why I don't like this. A lot of times it ends in a disaster. A lot of times it ends in unrequited love or some of the other things on my list. It can end in a disaster. And I've seen it end in so many disasters. Now, this is the part where people are going to chime in and tell me how they have a situation and it's so great. Every time I have this conversation with a group of people, there's always one person, 2 people, a couple people that want to tell me how they've had this situation and it's so great. And in most cases, if I probe them long enough, I find out that they're settling most of the time. Other times, maybe some people do enjoy, having this freedom, having this type of relationship. But I guarantee you it's not the majority. The majority of people that I come across, these situations are problematic. Now, I know that there could be a case where it could go well. I'm just saying to you that in general, it does not. And if you think about a lot of situations that you personally know, it would ended up in disaster. 4, in essence, one or both of you are aware of an incompatibility. Okay, why are you friends with benefits versus having a relationship? Because one or both of you knows or thinks the other one is not compatible or is not good enough. Let's just keep it real. One of the persons, she said to me, the one I talked about earlier, he ain't shit. So she knows, she's aware of the incompatibility. She's aware that this guy ain't shit. You see? So one of y'all is in essence saying, you're not good enough for me. You're good enough for me to climb on top of you. You're good enough for me to use you for sex, is what the person in essence is telling you. You are good enough for me to use you for sex, but you're not good enough for me to take you seriously in a relationship. In essence, that's what they're saying to you. And you're like, okay. Or that's what you're saying to them. And they're like, that's not cool at all. In essence, one or both of you knows that something about the other is not the way to go. So if they're not good enough for you to be with, they're not good enough for you to be sleeping with. 5, many times it's brought about by a sex addiction. Many of the people I know who perpetually do this have a sex addiction. So they only do this so they can have sex with as many people as possible. If they are committed to someone or in a relationship, they can have sex with other people. They could cheat, or they could be in a polyamorous or an open relationship. But in most cases, that's not what happens. In most cases, they are sex addicts, and at least they have enough goodness not to cheat. I'll give you that. So what they do instead of cheating is just having open friends with benefits with as many people as they possibly can. So a lot of times it's only further perpetuating this sex addiction. 6, unrequited love often occurs. A lot of times one of them falls in love. Because remember, I said this is an unnatural state. So a lot of times you will start to have feelings that you can't deny. And if the other person doesn't share your feelings, that's the most painful shit you can ever possibly imagine happening to you. I've experienced it. I've seen other people experience it, and it's painful. So here you are, emotionally, spiritually attached to a person that only wants you for that one thing. What the fuck? So it could lead to a lot of heartache. 7, many times it leads to STDs or STIs. Because you're in an open situation, because you're not monogamous, if you're not practicing safe sex, you open yourself up to STDs and STIs. And since you're both not committed to each other, the chances that you're sleeping with other people are high. So there goes the probability that you might catch something from this person or this person catch something from you. 8, many times it leads to unplanned pregnancies. Some of us are friends with benefits babies, and some of us have friends with benefits babies. Because what happened? You were having sex with somebody that you had an emotional and spiritual, but no physical, tangible attachment to, and the condom breaks. You forget to wear one. You wear it, and you're on birth control, and it doesn't work. Something goes wrong, and now you're pregnant by your friends with benefits lover, in the case of a heterosexual couple. So now you have another complication. Do you have this baby? Do you have an abortion? What does that mean? What if I want to have the baby and you don't want that level of commitment? You don't want to be a father. You don't want to be, you don't want to be involved, A lot of things with this could go wrong. 9, the title is misleading. Okay, so the title, Friends with Benefits. Now listen to what a friend is. According to Google, y'all know I was coming with a definition. According to Google, a friend is a person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection, typically exclusive of sexual or family relations. So as soon as you started to have sex, you are already coming out of the definition of friend. So as soon as you had sex with them, the friendship is over. You just a benefit. You pretending like you a friend, but according to the very definition, once you have sex, you become something else, something undefined at this point, because you have no relationship. So you're not their girlfriend, you're not their boyfriend, you're not their significant other, you're not their husband, you're not their wife, and you're not their friend. So you're using a misleading title because y'all, in most cases, ain't friends. And according to the definition, typically exclusive of sexual relations. So according to the definition, you're not friends, period. So again, you're using a very a title that you're really not. And the last one, let's look at 10. It sometimes causes or encourages commitment phobias. Now remember, I said this is a very Aquarian thing to do. So if an Aquarius or anybody else is having these types of relationships, over time, especially if they're repeating them, over time, it really encourages you not to make commitments. If you are friends with benefits, you never have to make any kind of commitments. So a lot of times, especially in Aquarius, you don't want to make commitments anyway. So this is only going to encourage you not to make commitments. And for some of us, it's going to make us commitment phobic. So we're only going to be able to handle situations that are friends with benefits because they are unattached, intangible. So some of us aren't even going to be able to handle a real relationship when it presents itself because we're used to having such a hands-off type approach. So those are my 10 reasons for not liking, despising friends with benefits. And if you have a situation like this and you are enjoying it, I say do you. Gone. But if you are on a precipice of thinking about this, think about these 10 things before you do it. That's all I ever ask, is think about what you're doing, because you're opening yourself up to these 10 things. And for any of us who've been in this situation and had it explode, this can be really negative, really nasty, and really ugly. Does it have to be? No. Is it most of the time? Yes. So if you have the situation going on and you like it, cool. If you have the situation going on and you don't like it, if you just like the sex with the person, I would say wean yourself off the sex and then spend your time. Wean yourself off the sex, friend zone this person, and then spend your time trying to find a meaningful relationship that you can have good sex in. That's the answer. The answer isn't to just have sex with Joe, anybody that comes down the street. The answer is to work on yourself and to work on whatever love or whatever vibration, whatever you have going on. Work on yourself to draw you a real relationship. Imagine that. And then you can have all the sex you want with someone who you have a tangible connection and possibly a future with. To me, that's the best way to have sex. So, like I said before, I know that plenty of people don't agree with me about this. And to be honest with you, I don't really care, because people don't agree with me about a lot of things, right? So I really don't care. But this is just my feelings and opinions on it. You, of course, as always, are free to do whatever you want. I even help people who come to me in these situations and talk them through it. I'm not going to judge you because I've been there, but I am going to tell you it's not a good idea. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you know somebody who's in this situation or who is thinking about this, please pass this video on to them. If you would like to send me a love donation, I will leave my PayPal. If you would like to send me a present, I'll leave my Amazon wish list. Check it out. Those of you who like to read, there's some great books on there. And also, if you would like to sign up for a tarot or oracle card reading, I will also leave my email. You can email me. And I'm also on social media. I'm on Facebook and I am on Instagram. So check me out there as well. I'll leave that information. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.